But one day, this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
Today, cities all across our country holding celebrations in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his life, his legacy being honored with marches, parades, and volunteer projects. Of course, Dr. King assassinated in Memphis, April the 4th, 1968. He was only 39 years old. And here right now with more on Dr. King's impact really on Central Florida and other black history milestones in our area is Dr. Julian Chambliss, a professor of history at Rollins College. Good to have you here. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Happy to be here.
You know, associating Dr. King with the Orlando area, I know he gave a speech at Tinker Ball Field. What other sort of impacts did Dr. King have here in Central Florida?
Well, you know, whenever we talk about civil rights in Central Florida, it's important to recognize that we have a lot of links to the history of civil rights.
Okay.
With Daytona Beach and people like Mary McLeod Bethune. Sure. Dr. King was educated and had a close association with Milton Thurman, who taught at Spelman Morehouse, who came from Daytona Beach. So there's a legacy of nonviolence and sort of like stewardship and civil rights that we can connect to sort of path-breaking and ground-breaking figures from Central Florida that connect to Dr. King. And of course, whenever we talk about Dr. King's legacy, he's a figure that was a part of a coalition, and really that coalition of civil rights and the small groundwork done by people every day is really important to understanding his legacy.
I think any state in the South is going to have a rich history, black history. I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, so Rosa Parks certainly was well known to me from an early age. Is there anything along those lines here in the Orlando area, Central Florida, that would stand out to you?
Sure. I mean, whenever we talk about civil rights in Central Florida, I think it's really important to talk about a figure like Harry T. Moore, who was the secretary of the NAACP. He was actually one of the first officials of the NAACP assassinated. He was a very important figure in terms of organizing African Americans participating in the political landscape. We can look at someone like Mary McLeod Bethune, of course, she's an educator, but really a key figure in helping to organize and support African Americans, and was a key figure sort of pushing into politics and helping create policies that benefited the black community and the height of segregation. So figures like that, and of course, we always have our sort of hometown quiet heroes, people like Monroe Wells, associated with the Wellsville African American History Museum, a key figure in terms of like supporting the black community in Paramore. So there are always these figures that we should recognize, and they're white allies that were very important in terms of like transforming the civil rights narrative.
Yeah, and everyone always talks about the fact that Jackie Robinson played ball here in Central Florida as well.
Yeah, and of course, what Jackie Robinson experienced in Central Florida was very important to preparing him for the bigger stage of the national baseball experience, because when he was doing his spring training, he ran into real resistance, right? The police were called out. Some places did not want him to play. He had to navigate that resistance and really prepared him for what he would do in the major leagues. And of course, that was transformative because they also saw how many African Americans, but also how many white people were willing to embrace him.
I don't want to get too political at this point, but certainly in this day and age, it's a little bit different. The atmosphere is a little racially tinged more than it has been. I would imagine maybe in recent years, maybe I'm wrong about that. But do you think this Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is perhaps more important to remember his work, his legacy, and his "I Have a Dream" speech?
You know, I do think it's really important to understand that Dr. King was a leader, and in particular, what he offered for people struggling with white supremacy, struggling against the fear associated with white supremacy. One of the things I think that we have to remember about Dr. King, that he talked a lot about understanding that the people who may express racist ideas, they're afraid that they're misled, that we can forgive them and we can move past that, that there's a future moment where we will be reconciled. Right. And so the anger, the hate that you might see online, the sort of divisive actions have to be understood in a place where we are going to come together with a growth in terms of like our understanding of each other and a recognition of the need to offer civil rights, but also social justice to everyone,
Yeah.
right? That black people and white people will be living in a world where they both will be valued and that no one will be abused.
Right. I've always felt the I Have a Dream speech isn't just for African Americans, it's for everyone. It's about the world coming together and finally putting all that stuff behind us and actually living together in peace.
Right, and I think today, right now, that message is probably more important than it's ever been. So it's great for us to reflect back on his legacy.
Yeah. Dr. Chambliss, thank you so much for coming in this morning. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. Thank you. All right.